Despite your opinions on racism, police, or firearms, I think we can all agree that the world is a weird place right now. A pandemic, followed by government shutdowns, riots, defunding or dismantling police departments, and the media-fueled anger that is coursing through the veins of the country are all powerful things. Top that off with an approaching presidential election where Donald Trump is likely going to show down against dementia patient Biden, and you have conditions that are leading to the highest gun sales in U.S. history. I'm going to break down the numbers after the jump. Coltac is no longer just making suppressor wraps and pouches. They're jumping headfirst into the precision rifle game with products like the Cuddle Bag, the Boss Bag, the Ammo Book, and the Rifle Handle. You pick the colors, they build the gear. And because you're awesome and you watch TGC, they're doing a special discount code for you. TGC10 will get 10% off your entire order over at Coltac.com. Normally, I cover this stuff on my weekly gun news show, TGC News, but I felt like this time we needed to go into the weeds a little bit. For those unaware, the FBI keeps data on how many background checks are run through their system on a monthly basis. They've been doing this since the end of 1998. Now, these background checks don't all equate to a gun being sold because these checks are used for other purposes, but largely this correlates directly to gun sales. Also, it's important to note that not all states in the U.S. require a federal background check if the purchaser has, say, a concealed carry permit. So again, these numbers are not exact, but there is some correlation. Let's start at the beginning of this year, 2020. In January, there were 2.7 million background checks, the highest ever recorded for the month of January. In February, there were 2.8 million. Again, the highest ever in February. March, the highest in United States history for any month at 3.7 million. It tapered off in April to a mere 2.9 million, which is the highest ever recorded in April. And May, you guessed it, May also sets records at just shy of 3.1 million background checks. That gives us a total for the year so far of about 15.2 million background checks. Compare that to the same time frame of 2019, and we're seeing a 32% increase. That is massive growth. Now consider the fact that it's safe to say that a large portion of those background checks were for sales of more than one gun. You don't get a check for every gun, you get one for every time you purchase. If that works out to about 15 million guns sold, that's a conservative estimate, then in the first 5 months of this year, we have sold enough to arm the entire population of the 3 largest cities in the U.S. Yes, the entire population. New York, LA, and Chicago. It's almost enough to give every person in Philadelphia 10 guns. 10! If we look at the total data collected since '98, there were about 348 million checks performed, and that's enough to arm every single person in the U.S. Everybody gets a gun. These numbers are absolutely staggering. If we take that 32% increase and extrapolate out to the end of the year, assuming the growth remains the same, we will see background checks reaching about 37 million. Again, the highest in U.S. history. What does all this data tell us? Well, it confirms that gun ownership is growing by a lot. It also confirms that people are deciding to take their personal safety into their own hands. To me, that's a wonderful thing. It also tells us that despite the country being brought to its knees due to shutdown, the gun industry is alive and well. I hope that this results in a sort of awakening, that a large percentage of the new gun owners realize that their rights have been trampled on while they weren't watching, and that we have some new folks fighting the fight for the second. Only time will tell. I want to know what you guys think of all this data. What do you think it means? What else can we learn from times like these? What are your thoughts on all of the controversies that are taking place, the riots, police shutdowns, things of that nature? Sound off in the comments and let's talk about it. If you think we've earned it, get subscribed and hit the bell. And if you haven't already, smash the like button for me. It helps get this information out to more people. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.